You were born with nothing, not a name you earned, not a fortune you built, not a reputation, a resume, or a record to lean on. Just you, your breath, your heartbeat, your soul, and a blank canvas. You came into this world with no guarantees, no instructions, no promises of fairness. Just potential. Now that word, potential, it's heavy. It don't come with a map. It doesn't shout. It whispers. It hides behind pain, behind poverty, behind pressure, but it's there, always, waiting for you to claim it. When I say you were born with nothing, I don't say that to discourage you. I say that to free you, because if you were born with nothing, then you have nothing to fear losing. You got nothing tying you down. Nothing holding you back except what you believe about yourself. You weren't born with shame. You weren't born with doubt, that stuff that came later, that came from the world, from people who gave up on their own dreams and tried to talk you out of yours. But let me tell you something I learned early. Just because someone gave up doesn't mean you have to settle. There's power in being born with nothing. You ever seen a tree growing through concrete? It wasn't planted in rich soil. It didn't have ideal conditions, but it grew anyway, because that's what life does when it wants to live. And you want to live. You want to thrive. I see it in your eyes. I hear it in your silence, in the way you keep showing up even when it hurts. That's not weakness. That's not desperation. That's fire. That's refusal. A refusal to stay small. A refusal to accept that where you started is where you end. You were born with nothing, but deep inside you is everything you'll ever need. Courage, imagination, conviction, the ability to stand up in your storm and say, I was not built to break. Listen, this world don't owe you anything, but you don't owe it your surrender either. You might not have come from a long line of greatness, but you can start it. You might not have a legacy behind you, but you can build one in front of you, because being born with nothing doesn't mean you're empty. It means you've got room to grow, space to create, power to become. You were born with nothing, but you were born with you, and that's more than enough. You got a choice, every single day. That's the truth they don't always tell you. They'll talk about fate, luck, privilege, who your parents were, what zip code you were born into, like all of that decides who you get to become. But choice is the quiet power sitting right in your hands, waiting on you to use it. Every morning you wake up, you've got a decision to make. Do I move forward, or do I stay where it's safe? Do I speak up, or do I stay silent and hope someone notices me? Do I keep going, even when I'm tired, when I'm broke, when I'm scared? Or do I give in? Now let me be real with you, choosing to grow, to stretch, to chase something bigger than your comfort. That ain't easy. It's painful. It costs. It'll make you question yourself at 3 in the morning, wondering if the dream is worth the sacrifice. But the other choice, the one where you stay small, stay hidden, stay afraid, that costs too. It costs your potential. It costs your voice. It costs your life. One day, one regret at a time. See, your situation might not be your fault, but your future, that's your responsibility. You don't control the cards you were dealt, but you do control how you play them. You can fold, or you can fight. I've seen people come from nothing, less than nothing, and choose to fight. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for someone to rescue them. They didn't sit around hoping the world would recognize their worth. They decided they were worth it, and that decision changed everything. Your life is a series of choices stacking up on top of each other. Every yes to discipline, every no to distraction. Every moment you choose purpose over comfort, passion over fear, growth over pride. That's how you climb. That's how you rise. You don't need the world to give you a crown. You just need to choose to act like royalty before the world even sees the throne, because destiny doesn't come wrapped in velvet and gold. It comes wrapped in grit, in long nights and quiet sacrifices. And every day, the question remains, will you choose to build something from your nothing? Will you choose to become more than what they told you could be? You got a choice, and in that choice lies the difference between staying where you are and stepping into the greatness that's been waiting on you all along. Struggle is the soil of greatness. It don't feel like it when you're in it. When the bills are piling up, when the doors keep closing, when the phone doesn't ring, and the people who said they'd support you vanish into silence. It just feels like pain, like pressure, like you're drowning in a world that keeps pushing you under. But listen to me, nothing great ever grew in perfect conditions. Diamonds formed under pressure, steel forged in fire, legends built in the shadows when no one was watching, when it was just them, their faith, and a whole lot of fight. See, struggle. It's not the enemy. It's the environment. It's the proving ground, the furnace that burns away your excuses and leaves behind your essence. Struggle strips you of what's fake and introduces you to what's real. It teaches you patience, discipline, perspective. You learn to stop chasing applause and start chasing purpose. And when you're down there, at the bottom, with nothing left but your will, that's when it happens. That's when you find out what you're made of. You find out that grit don't come from books. Resilience don't come from easy days. Strength is earned in sweat, in setbacks, in silence. I know what it feels like to want to quit. To think maybe this just isn't for me. To watch people who had shortcuts succeed while you're out here bleeding for every inch. But let me tell you something, that struggle you're in, that's your advantage. Because once you've been through the fire, you're no longer afraid of heat. Once you've built yourself with broken pieces, no one can take that away from you. People who have never struggled, they don't know what they're capable of. But you do. You've fallen and got back up. You've lost and kept moving. You've cried, then stood up and showed up anyway. That's greatness in disguise. It's not about having a perfect story. It's about surviving the chapters that tried to destroy you. It's about learning how to breathe under pressure, to rise under weight, to build a life out of the bricks life threw at you. You think your struggle is a sign you're failing. No, it's a sign you're in training. That greatness has its eyes on you, shaping you, sharpening you, stretching you beyond what's comfortable. So yeah, the struggle's real, but so is your strength. And that struggle, hard as it is, it's the very thing that's building the version of you the world needs to see. Faith, grit, and vision. That's the formula. That's the engine. That's what carries you when everything else falls away. Faith isn't just about religion or believing in something you can't see. It's about trusting that what you're fighting for matters, even when there's no proof yet. It's about waking up in the dark and still walking like the light's gonna show up. It's that voice in your chest that says, keep going, when the world is screaming, give up. You gotta have faith not just in the outcome, but in yourself. In your purpose. In the idea that your life was meant to mean something more than just survival. Because faith is what keeps the fire lit when the winds of doubt blow through. Faith is what separates the people who try from the people who finish. But faith alone won't get you there. You need grit. That raw, unshakable, get back up every time grit. That relentless spirit that doesn't wait for permission, doesn't beg for approval. Grit means you show up when you're tired. You speak when you're scared. You push through the boredom, the repetition, the rejection. Grit is not glamorous. It's not pretty. It's built in silence, in private, when nobody's clapping for you. And then, vision. You have to see it before the world does. You have to be the first believer in your dream, even if you're the only one for a long time. Vision gives your pain purpose. It gives your grind direction. Without vision, you're just moving. But with it, you're building. You're not just surviving the day, you're creating a future. Your vision is the blueprint. It's the picture in your mind that keeps your feet on the path when the road is long. And I don't care how far behind you feel, how small your start was. If you've got a vision, you've got a future. If you've got grit, you've got power. And if you've got faith, you've got everything. The world will test all three. It'll throw storms at your faith, walls at your vision, and setbacks at your grit. But if you hold steady, if you hold on, something starts to happen. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop surviving and start living. Faith, grit, vision. They're not just qualities, they're a way of life. They're the inner armor, the quiet roar inside the person who's tired but won't quit. Scared but won't stop, unseen but still moving. Because if you can carry those three things with you, faith in where you're going, grit to take the hits, and vision to stay locked in on what you're building, then it doesn't matter how you started. You're headed somewhere that makes it all worth it. Legacy over circumstance, that's the mindset, that's the mission. Because when it's all said and done, it's not about what you went through. It's about what you left behind. See, too many people let their circumstances become their identity. They let the neighborhood they grew up in, the mistakes they made, the people who hurt them, define the borders of their life. But your beginning is just the introduction. It's not the whole book. Your pain is a paragraph, not the final page. You were not put here just to pay bills and disappear. You were not born just to survive whatever the world throws at you. You were born to build, to inspire, to leave a mark so deep that when your name is mentioned, people feel something. Not because you were perfect, but because you showed up, fully, unapologetically, every single time. Your legacy is not about how many trophies you collect or how much money you stack. It's about the impact. It's the lives you touch, the hearts you change, the courage you awaken in others simply by refusing to quit. Legacy is built in those quiet moments, when you choose to do the right thing when no one's looking. When you lift someone else even though you're still climbing. When you break a cycle that's lived in your family for generations. When you love loudly in a world that teaches people to keep their hearts guarded. You see, legacy is made when you decide that your story won't be defined by lack, by fear, by what you didn't have. Legacy is made when you say, I'm more than where I came from. I'm more than what I was told I could be. You don't have to have a last name that opens doors. You don't need fame or a platform to build a legacy. All you need is a decision. A decision to live like your life means something, and it does. Somebody is watching you even now. Watching how you fight, how you carry pain, how you rise. And whether you realize it or not, you're planting seeds with every step. Seeds that will grow into someone else's courage, someone else's hope, someone else's permission to believe in more. So don't settle for surviving your circumstance. Outgrow it, outshine it, outlive it. Because the truth is, you can be born with nothing, raised in chaos, surrounded by struggle, and still leave this world with a legacy louder than all of it. They don't have to remember the pain you went through, but let them remember the strength you walked in. Let them say you turned the weight into wings. Let them say you didn't just live. You built something that mattered, so now you know. You were born with nothing, no riches, no promises, no guarantees. But you were also born with choice, with vision, with fire in your chest and purpose in your bones. And that means everything. The world may try to measure you by where you started, by your background, your bank account, your skin, your scars. But you don't have to end where you began. You have the power to decide what this life becomes. You have the strength to rewrite the story, to turn struggle into strength, loss into leadership, pain into power, and nothing into legacy. Don't let this world convince you to settle. Don't shrink to fit into spaces you were born to outgrow. Don't let fear write your ending. You came into this world with empty hands, but you can leave it with full impact. With hearts you've touched, dreams you've chased, mountains you've moved, and a voice that echoes long after you're gone. So I'll say it one last time: you were born with nothing. But you don't have to die that way. Now go, leave like it, build like it, rise like it, and don't look back.